There we go, man. We got it ready to go, man. My man Darren Smith in the building, man. Welcome on into the Barbershop, man. We got a special guest in the building. Always love when I can, touch base with this guy, man. Darren Smith, a KLKC, one of the best dressed man in all of the business right now. You know what I'm saying? How you doing today, my brother?
Man, look, I am actually doing pretty good, man. I got like a couple of weeks off from work. I got the game Monday and then the following game, but other than that, I don't travel again until the last week of the season when we go to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. So I'm enjoying the rest because trust me, man, I have been road weary lately.
Listen, man, I don't even travel and I've been weary. I don't even know. I'll be like, yeah, I got the barbershop coming up. I got a show coming up. I don't know when it is. It's just, it's one of them things, but you know what it is with football season and you're so excited when it gets started. But then when you get to be about week 14, 15, 16, man, you dragging them holidays, hit you back to back. It'd be tough.
And man, the hardest thing about what I do is that it's hard for me to like lose weight during the season because it's like, I get the barbecue free every week. And then, you got, and then, and then when you're in the press box, they feed you 2 or 3 times a day. And this past week in New England had to be the best pregame spread that I think I've had in some time and covering the Chiefs. And this was New England, man. They fed us real. I'm talking about real, not that, not the little stuff that you see at IHOP when it comes to steak tips. I'm talking about real big steak tips that was cooked and seasoned to perfection. Glazed chicken breast along with oven roasted potatoes, as well as macaroni and cheese and New England clam chowder, and then big ass chocolate chip cookies that were just like that huge, and as well as cupcakes and ice cream and pizza. Oh man, they set it out, man.
Man, this is what you get when you travel with the team. I'm just throwing that out there right now. When you win the team with the squad, you can get that off, man. So you just made me very hungry. I'm gonna have to see what's up with DoorDash. My wife ain't home yet, but I got a couple more podcasts.
I know the feeling, brother. I know the feeling.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you what, man. Let's dive into this. We got a great show for you guys. We're gonna take a look at. I was interested in running this by you because I've been watching some different things in terms of trends in the NFL. It looks like offense is down a little bit. In the first, and then I'll ask you this question because obviously you cover the Kansas City Chiefs. The first team that they point to when they want to make a scenario based upon whether offense is down is they want to go immediately. They just look at the Chiefs. They don't look at anybody else. They're like, all right, let's look at the Chiefs as the case study and figure out if offense is really down or is it the injuries. So we'll talk about that and get into that with you coming up here in a little bit later. Obviously, we'll go over the AFC playoff picture. AFC playoff picture is still in tow. Obviously, you guys got an opportunity to clinch in with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll go over that scenario. Browns can clinch, but there's a bunch of things that need to happen. We'll kind of run over those a little bit and talk about that. And we will get to your question and answer. I figure we was like, look, it's Christmas time. You can ask me and Darren anything, but you can't ask us about sports, politics, and religion. You can ask anything else, and we'll talk to you. We'll take your answers. Make sure you get those in, and we'll do that coming up at the end of the show. But first, let's get to this game right here. Browns versus Texans preview. The big news, Darren, is you got C.J. Stroud, who I think was playing like he was playing like he wasn't even a rookie. He was playing like a bona fide ball player. When you look at this, Darren, when you look at CJ Stroud, this is just something came out a couple of days ago, according to sports reports at ESPN. CJ Stroud, Texas rookie star, is likely to miss his second consecutive game due to a concussion as of Tuesday. This is a couple of days ago. It has been now come out that he will not play. They will be starting your man, one of the guys we know relatively well in here, Case Keenum. And then they did go in response. They did sign reserve quarterback Tim Boyle for the Jets. From the Jets practice squad. CJ won't be playing. When you look at this, Darren, does that make this type of game for the Cleveland Browns a must-win game if CJ Stroud is not playing in this game?
Oh, even if CJ Stroud was playing, it's still a must-win game. I know I sent you all a couple of weeks ago the scenario that, you all could be a number 2, even a number 1 seed if things were to play itself out. And the fact that he's not playing, and of course, I think they're going to be without Nico Collins and Tate Dale. So you have all the, most of their main studs on offense that it's hard to justify them putting up, a lot of points. If CJ Stroud was there, yeah, you'd have an issue on your hands. But with them not being there, everything is right there in front of you for the taking. And look, I know it covers the Chiefs, but I feel the same way about Kansas City. These teams, they're in must-win situations because you don't want to give your fan base or even that other teams in your division any hope or opportunity to jump you or to take your place. I mean, right now you're sitting pretty in the number five seed. I mean, all you really have to do is just win your games, and it is easier said than done. I was literally watching you all before I came on it because I had a late start today, and so I mean, for me, yeah, it is a must-win game. I mean, because if he's not there, if he's not playing, you don't have any excuse why you don't win this game.
Yeah, I think this, and a lot of people will say, well, G. Bush, a must-win by definition is a game in which if you lose this game, you're going home and the season's over. And I get what you're saying with that, but here's the thing. This is a prime opportunity, and one of the things here for Cleveland and the Browns, we've not had the type of luck we've had. Usually, generally speaking, we are the team that says only happens in Cleveland. We don't get the bounces. We get all our main people hurt. We don't get the calls. We feel like it's always one of those type things where it's coming down to the end, and we find a way to lose or things don't go our way. This is one of those bounces for some odd reason this year. We've been getting these bounces. CJ Stroud, this game, to me, if you're there, if CJ Stroud is playing, it's more of a pick'em game. Now you got the Texans at home. You got a guy that can, extend plays. You got a guy that's playing really at a Pro Bowl level, and you have a crowd that's going to be pretty fired up. And so now you don't get that. You get Case Keenum. We don't know if Nico Collins is going to play. If they don't have all those people playing, you got to go in here and get this one because the last thing you don't want to do, Darren, I'm not trying to be running around and playing around with the Bengals at the last part of the season in Cincinnati. I want a part of that.
Well, again, you watch it on the show. If you win Sunday, you have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. Why risk laying an egg Sunday and letting, like the latter 2 games, especially the last game against Cincinnati, be a must-win game in that scenario where if you don't win, you're like the Chargers against the Raiders a couple of years ago, where if you win that game, you get to the playoffs. If you lose, you go home. Now, if you tied, both teams would have gotten to the playoffs at that time. So if I'm the Browns, yeah, this is a must-win game. And look, you talk about the crowd. The crowd is not really going to be all that amped because you got to remember Deshaun Watson is not playing, and so because he's not in that game, you don't have that type of press and that type of energy that's going to be directed towards Cleveland in that particular game. So, I do like the fact that the way I know Joe Flacco, I think, sat out of practice yesterday or the day before. So I do like that, relative to where you all are dealing with the rash of injuries that you all have going into this game, you're in a much better situation, especially on defense, to stop that offense to play Sunday against the Texans. So I do like Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, when you look at it, I look at the Texans defense, and we'll throw this out here because Nico Collins is not in this game. It looks like they won't have some of their offensive guys, but I like what they've been doing on defense as well. I like Will Anderson. I like what they've been doing. They get after the quarterback a little bit. I like the intensity that they play with. And when you're talking about Coach of the Year, we mentioned this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This almost to me feels like an elimination of Coach of the Year, right? If you get, and I know Stefanski, and I'll get your thoughts on this too. I know Stefanski here, he gets maligned a little bit for play calling, but if I look at the rest of this schedule, and I look at if the Browns could run the table and possibly get 12 victories with the amount of quarterbacks injuries, I have to think Coach Stefanski is on a short list around the country. How do you guys view in the media around the country? How do you guys view the job Kevin Stefanski has done so far?
Well, for me, because I remember being with you all on before the season, I was not, and to some extent, I haven't been impressed with his play calling. Now, it has worked, and the reason why I say I haven't been impressed is because I thought that he could get more out of it, and I thought some of the play calling was kind of high schoolish, and some of the stuff, especially when you were dealing with Elijah Moore. Now, again, it could be the way. Now, look, I know you're on your fourth quarterback, so you got to work with what you got, and so I do feel a certain kind of way when they say that he's in his bag because he's got Joe Flacco.
I don't like the terminology when you say in your bag. That means that denotes you cooking on a different type level.
but when I said it, I'm saying they're associating him being in his bag because they're saying that Joe Flacco is the type of quarterback he's, I'm like, wait a second now, Deshaun Watson's more athletic, can throw the ball deeper and a lot more, I'm like, so I don't know how to take it when you say he's in his bag. Like, he should be able to come up with creative plays when he had Nick Chubb and he had Deshaun Watson week 1. But again, I know the weather stuff. Look, hey, I watch every game. So, but that's my feeling on that. But when it comes to Stefanski, yes, if he runs the table and they're 12-5, just based off of how the season ended last week and everything that he had to go through, I thought that maybe D'Amico Ryans would have an edge just based off of what they did last year and what they're doing this year. But if they don't make the playoffs, especially with how they're doing, I think his only competition would be Dan Campbell. But I really do think that if they can run the table and somehow, Baltimore would have to falter, but if they go 12-5, I don't see why he would not be a top 3, if not the winner of the Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, it's and here's the thing I've said, and I said this a couple times. I looked at the amount of people that's all out up front, and I take a look at you're your fourth quarterback. And I've always said, yes, I've been critical sometimes, especially when he hasn't run the ball. And I've been very critical of some of his play calls, especially in the terms of it's when you call what you call, right? In situational football. But I looked at it and I had to say, look, I mean, if you're down to your third or fourth tackle, you're on your fourth quarterback, you had to take Flacco off the street. You don't have your best playmaker, Nick Chubb. You've had him for 5 quarters. You did. I'll give you credit for going out and getting Jim Schwartz, and I'll give you credit for making a decision to get rid of Cade York when you could have let that fester. You could have let Cade York sit around and it cost you football games, but you did a good job in getting rid of the guy, and you got a guy, and you picked a guy in Hopkins who's been pretty solid. So for me, if you telling me that you're gonna get 12 wins, have the best defense in the league, and be able to still win games against the top 2 teams in the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens in terms of the AFC and the NFC, I got to give it to you. I got to give you credit where credit is due. Now, will he have some play calls where you scratch your head? Sure. But in terms of the guys playing hard for him, guys actually showing up, and some of the younger guys producing when they didn't think they would, I think he's on a very short list of guys who have an opportunity at that award.
Look, let me say this: when they played Kansas City in the last preseason game back in August, I was, when I went inside the locker room for Cleveland, I thought they were like a real young, kind of immature team. I went in the locker room, of course, to holler at Juan Thornhill, and sent you out a video with Cade York. I think that might have been one of the last videos. I think it might have been his last video with Cleveland. But I know from watching you all throughout the season, the hills and the valleys that this team has gone through. Obviously, Nick Chubb going out first, and then of course Deshaun Watson and the rash of injuries, with your linemen, and look, I know how people talked about DeJuan Jones and whether or not he was going to be a flop, and then then they put him in, and he turned out better than even Jason and Bush he would be, and then of course he suffered his season-ending injury. So, it takes a lot, and look, and kudos to Stefanski along with your general manager, because it does take a lot to cut players, especially that close to the end of the season, end of the preseason to start the season, but also the moves that you make during the regular season. Look, there's issues here in Kansas City when it comes to the wide receiver room, and no moves were made. Throughout the regular season, and no moves. We didn't. The Chiefs didn't bring anyone in. Before the trade deadline and stuff like that, and they haven't signed another wide receiver or anything like that. So, so I do understand that the moves that they were making and the decisions that they had to make. Look, it was tough, and the fact again that you all are, I believe, 9-5 right now, along with the Chiefs. Again, I mean, he's got everything is there for you. I'm not too concerned about Kansas City, because Kansas City's going to win their division. They're going to get home, and they'll at worst be number 2, if not number 1 in the AFC when the playoffs start. So I'm not too concerned about that. But dealing with you all, man, I'm telling you, it's going back to whether that's a must-win game, and Stefanski could be and should be the favorite to win coach of the year. But because of that, that puts more pressure on. If he's to be that coach of the year, you have to win this game.
I think you bring up a really good point. You can't you got to have it. I know we don't want to get to a point where we get greedy with this, but we got to have this thing, because I don't want this thing mulling over. I don't want this thing spilling over towards a situation where now it's like, okay, when we really got to win these other couple games, I want to be comfortable as you guys are right now, comfortable a little bit going down the backstretch. When we get back, we're going to dive deeper into this AFC playoff picture. We'll get to the Chiefs scenarios. We'll get to the Brown scenarios overall, and we'll give a look at everything that we got going on over here in the AFC in the playoff picture. You're listening to G. Bush, Darren, here on the US or UCSS YouTube channel. So I told you guys, I'm going to let you guys know, I'm going to extend this for one more day. I'm going to let you guys know, since we got something going, I'm going to extend this one more day because I want to get everybody an opportunity to get in on this. We will be announcing this tomorrow on UCSS. So make sure you're watching UCSS, the YouTube channel. We'll be making sure that we tell the winners of these Kool-Aid Mafia purple playoff pack hoodies right now. So these guys are Earl has been bugging me about them. G. Bush, where my hoodie at? Man, people think I'm Santa Claus. I say, Earl, I don't carry the hoodie with me. I just, it's on the site. So what we're gonna do, you guys got an opportunity. We still got some places for you. 5 lucky winners. If you hit me up now at GBush91, at GBush91 in the top and in the subject line, you just put Flacco. We're going to go ahead and put your name into a drawing. We'll draw these names, and we will let you know who won tomorrow on UCSS. So it's all courtesy of the G. Bush and the Barbershop. And if you don't want to wait, if you say, man, because we got a lot of entries on this. I think we're over 2,000 entries on this. If you don't want to wait, you can go get this hoodie. This hoodie is out available right now today at bushlinebeauty.com/barbershop, bushlinebeauty.com/barbershop. And if it's your first time ordering, we're going to give you a complimentary 15% off your first order. It's all your boy. You know what we do over here. It's the Barbershop, G. Bush, and make sure you check out bushlinebeauty.com. G. Bush is back with Darren Smith.
Yes, sir.
KLKC TV radio. He's all over the place, man. He's getting the free. He's flying with the team.
Hold on.
He know they rib tips.
Hold on. I don't fly with the team. I have to remind. I cover the team. I don't work. I don't get a check from them. I cover the team. So
you just cover them, but you happen to get some overflow, right? You get a little overflow.
No, actually, seriously, unless they eating good on the plane, I eat better than they do at the games. So.
See, listen, this dude is crazy. This dude, see how they do him. Let's get to a couple comments before we get to the next one. Man, drowning in music says, yes, this game is big and it's a must win. My people, shout out to, we see you. We see you out there. I don't get emojis on this. What's up, Vincent? I see you out here, man. Marketville, Mary Kay Cabot.
They're doing
I can't. Come on,
I can't.
Stop. We can't even say that. You guys, listen. Why y'all always playing, man? Y'all always playing around, man. That's why we can't put you on. Reggie Glover, that was the 90s. Listen, man, these guys, man. I don't know what y'all on. Y'all must be in y'all bag today. Y'all ain't supposed to be at work. Corey McLaughlin, what's good, man? I see you. Look, you keep it PG, man. Keep it PG. 142 people here. Make sure you hit that like button. Stop playing around. We should at least have 142 likes immediately. Let's get into this thing right here, man. AFC playoff picture and Clinch scenarios. And first of all, we're going to do, since we got a guest in the building, we're going to talk about his team first. Let's get to it. The Kansas City Chiefs is always in the building in terms of what they need to do. So let's look at this right now. All right. Nope. I lied to you. That was my team. This your squad. Let me move this out the back. So look at this. All right, Darren, we got in the AFC North right now. At this point, and this was taken, I think I got this from ESPN. At this point, the computer is feeling pretty confident about the Ravens, 11-3, and going to end up with the top seed in the AFC. Even if they lose to the 49ers on Christmas, which they play them, coming up here, this week. They can go a long way towards wrapping up the number one seed by beating the Dolphins in week 17. Remaining schedule is at the 49ers, Dolphins, and Steelers. For Cleveland Browns fans involved in this one, for the Browns to be alive and well in the AFC North, to win the North, you need two things to happen. You need to win out. You also need them to lose to the 49ers and or the Dolphins or Steelers. So they got to lose 2 out of 3. Hopefully, preferably, it would be the 49ers and the Dolphins. I don't know if the Steelers can beat them if they do that. But, Darren, let's talk really quickly about the AFC North and the Ravens. How do you think they'll fare the next couple weeks?
I do think they lose to the Niners. The Niners are just playing top football right now. I do see them losing to the Niners. Now, preferably, I would, this is my scenario for this weekend, that both the Ravens and the Dolphins lose. Chiefs win Monday. They move up to number 2, and then the Dolphins can knock off the Ravens. Chiefs win out, beat Cincinnati. They move up to number 2. And look, let's just say for hypothetical, for shits and giggles, Steelers knock off the Ravens. Browns win out. Browns number 2 seed. I'm just saying.
You right? Listen, that's still in the air.
That's what I told y'all. Hey, I told you in the text message 2 weeks ago that scenario that could happen.
You're looking at the AFC, the Dolphins kind of messed themselves up a little bit. Dolphins was rolling. Yeah. They take that L to the Tennessee Titans at home. They was up 14 some odd points. It was a nasty loss. They're 10-4 right now. But here's the thing about the Dolphins people like to throw up. They've yet to beat a team with a winning record, which could make things interesting over the last 3 weeks because they'll be playing 3 teams.
That's what worries me about that game Sunday against the Cowboys.
Yeah. That's one of them. That's one of them joints right here. Cowboys game, I got that as an L. Now I hope they can fight back and beat the Ravens because I need them to beat the Ravens. But here's a question for the Dolphins. I believe they should be worried about the Bills. I think there's some scenarios out there where the Bills actually, because they do play them on the last game of the season, if some things bounce right, the Bills can be on the AFC East champs. What are your thoughts about the Dolphins, and are they fool's gold?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say they're fool's gold. I just think that, look, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule, and we saw on that Monday night game against Tennessee how they play with Tyreek and how they play without him. Kansas City, the Chiefs played them when we were in Germany, and we kind of held Tyreek in check. But he is a special kind of player, and I don't even think that the Cowboys have an answer for Tyreek. I do expect Tyreek to play in that game on Sunday. And like I said, I do see. Man, I'd like to see the Dolphins, beat the Cowboys, and not for any particular reason, just to kind of make that Ravens-Dolphins game even more important the following week as well. But man, I've got to say, man, I don't think they're fool's gold. I just think that they just had bad string of luck, depending on the teams that they've played and that they've beaten. That's all.
Listen, I'm a big fan of what you just said. Hey, you can only play us on your schedule. And I'm gonna take all the wins we can get. Then we get to your Chiefs, man. This is crazy. Patrick Mahomes has never had a playoff road game in his career. That is nuts. Chiefs 9-5.
Keep it that way too. Want you to know.
What'd you say?
We're trying to keep it that way as well.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got one of the best home field advantages in the National Football League. I would want to play every single game there as well. In my mind, I was like hoping to heck that the Cleveland Browns, because I think their defense is special at home. If the Browns could get a home playoff, ooh, that'd be crazy. But they've never played a home playoff game, and you guys have a really, I wouldn't say it's a weak schedule, but I don't foresee any of these teams beating the Chiefs down the backstretch.
Well, yeah, see,
I'm gonna ask you: are you nervous about any of these teams?
It's not the fact that I'm nervous, because I'm not. It's just I know what I've seen them put on film the last 3-4 weeks, and they've lost 4 out of their last 6 games, and the sheer fact that they've had problems scoring, they scored 27 against New England, but. I mean, look, man, this is one of the hard things about my job is that you have to be credible in your critiques and your criticism of the team without making it personal. Because right. I like a lot of the players. I talk to the players on camera, off camera. We share, information. We talk back and forth. We go to the barbershop and stuff together. So we have conversations that I'm never going to put, on tape or anything like that. But you also have to hold them accountable. They've dropped passes. They've dropped crucial passes. They've had turnovers that they should not have had in games where they should have won and put themselves or had themselves in position to win. What has concerned me, the way that they have played, is that I had to admit to myself, even on my postgame show, that if the Chiefs, and we'll just use the Browns for an example, this is really going to hurt me. If the Chiefs and the Browns were to face off in the AFC Championship game and the Browns had the lead, let's say the Browns had a 24-20 lead, the last 2 minutes of the ball game, and the Chiefs had to go down and score a touchdown, not a field goal, but a touchdown to win the ball game. I have confidence in Mahomes, but the problem is I don't have enough confidence in the play calling and the receivers at the moment to make the plays that will propel the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl right now.
Wow.
And that's from seeing it from my eyes in person on what they're doing.
And you've been in the locker room, you're around those guys, like you said, all the time. That's a very first and foremost, I think that's the great thing about when you got somebody who really loves football and understands the game. You're not married. You want your team to win, right? But you're not married to that part. You're not married to, you're married to what you see on film and what you see with your eyes, and you can't lie and be like, oh, we cooking. Well, not when you ain't cooking. We talked about it earlier this year when we was talking about Deshaun Watson. I said, man, come on, Deshaun. You got to give us something. I'm like, man, we got to have it here. And he showed us what he could do against Baltimore. But, when you talk about this, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss Tyreek Hill? And it's hard to say miss because you won the Super Bowl without him. However, if you looked at this roster and you said, I got Tyreek Hill today, it's a completely different story in some regards.
Yeah, but I could also do the flip thing that even if we had Tyreek last year, there's no guarantee that the Chiefs still win the Super Bowl. There's no guarantee that they beat Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game. What I'll say is this, and this is what I tell people: for all the drops that Kadarius Toney, MVS, Sky Moore have had this year, I have to remind Chiefs fans that they still don't win the Super Bowl without those three players, period. Because MVS, even though he struggled last year, he has 6 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown against Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game. Both Kadarius Toney had the big punt return, and I think he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl along with Sky Moore. They don't win against Philadelphia without those players' contribution. And so, for me, that bought them grace coming into the season. And even after week 1, where they had the drops and the drop that led to a pick 6 against Detroit in week number 1, that still bought them a little bit of grace. But man, I tell you, man, the biggest thing is that I'll say that they miss Eric Bieniemy more than Tyreek Hill. And look, I gotta call somebody out on your thing, because the one thing that I'm not going to take is somebody questioning the media in Kansas City talking about being soft, because I call out the play calls, because I did that just 2 weeks ago with Matt Nagy. Actually, that was last week against with Matt Nagy in the presser about the drop pass that the receivers have had and who holds these players accountable. Because if anybody actually went to my Twitter page, the very first video that they would see is me in the locker room after a Super Bowl victory, of course, no doubt, talking to Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy in the locker room, and Patrick Mahomes talking about how Eric Bieniemy held players accountable throughout this season and why that would make him a great head coach. Then we turn around and we see what's going on with the drop passes and the penalties and stuff like that. My co-host had asked Patrick Mahomes the day before when he spoke to the media last week about Eric Bieniemy and the accountability and who holds him accountable so far. He mentioned Nagy, which opened the door for me the next day when we talked to the coordinators. I asked him about that, and then not only did he try to answer, he didn't answer. I put his feet to the fire. Well, you say you hold him accountable. What does that accountability look like? And he got tongue tied in that because he wasn't expecting that. And his answer was what it was. So I'm sorry, I just had I guess it was Tempe 1D. I had to kind of like call out in the chat talking about KC media being soft because
Hey, listen. You actually, yeah. I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. We're gonna get some answers up here too. Let's touch down on this right here. So we can really quickly get back to this. AFC South. I think the Jaguars are floundering. The Jaguars was cooking until they came up here and got some of that AFC North. Then you lose to the Natty, you lose to the Browns, you got touched by the Ravens. Now all of a sudden you got guys on their heels a little bit. AFC is a dogfight between the Jags, Colts, and Texans. They all tied at 8-6. This is a big time game for the Houston Texans as well, because they still have aspirations to get in that as well. But here's a problem. They swept the Colts, and they have a little bit of a better division records than the Texans. If they can beat the Titans in week 18 in their remaining schedule, it looks like they can do something, right? So let's get to this. I want to go to and get to these clinching scenarios. Let's do this.
I do think the Jags though win their division.
I think they do too.
I mean, because look, if you all beat the Browns, if you all beat the Texans, they should. So
Kansas City, way they can clinch 9-5 versus Las Vegas at 6-8. That's Christmas. Yeah, they're gonna get that done. So Kansas City clinches the playoff berth and AFC West title with a Kansas City or Kansas City tie and a Denver loss. I think Kansas City win gets that. Yeah, that's 10-5. Put them and given a title. That's what they have to do to clinch. 195 people in here. Make sure you hit that. Coming up, we'll get to your questions as well. Make sure you keep it locked. We'll get to that. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit. Let's get to this one. Now, this is the scenario which we've talked about a little bit here for the Cleveland Browns. We'll add this in and we'll talk about the clinching scenarios. But right now, the Browns are in the wild card number 1. And they actually, since they won last week, said the computer has them about a 90% chance of getting in. They can actually clinch their spot as of this weekend, but it will take a win over Texas along with a lot of help. So we will talk about that. A lot of help coming up here in a second. But right now, the Browns are in the fifth seed, which is the wild card 1, and the wild card 1 will be slated to play the AFC South winner in that. Wild card 2. is the Buffalo Bills, and I think Buffalo is a little bit of the more, I wouldn't say it's scary, but
they're just sexy. They're just
it's a sexy little pick, and Josh Allen always gives them a puncher's chance because they do have him, they do have Diggs. I still think they need to run the ball more. I think they're kind of spasmodic a little bit in terms of their flow of the offense, and they can self-destruct because they can give you some turnovers. So they're in the 6th spot, and then you got the wild card number 3.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you just because I got to keep your credibility in check. Right now, I'm looking at ESPN. It's showing the Cincinnati Bengals in the number 6 spot because they do have the head-to-head win over Buffalo. So they have them at number 6 right now. So Buffalo's actually number 9.
So we'll go ahead and strike that one for the record. CD, whoever created this.
And they got the Colts at number 7. So
they got the Colts now at 7. And so the Texans would be, so in this case,
Texans are number 8.
Texans will be number 8. I don't know where I got this. I think I got it from ESPN, but this might be wrong. So, the things, I was listening at it about 2 or 3 days ago, and they had a completely different number of teams than this team. And I think it has to do with how many scenarios there is, and it can get kind of hairy with this. But even with that being said, you got the Bills, the Texans, the Colts, and the Bengals. Let's just go out of those 4 teams, right? Mm-hmm. Which one of those 2 teams do you think will probably end up making it?
I think the Bills.
Okay.
And see, without CJ Stroud, man, I just don't like their chances. So if I had to, I'd say the Bills and perhaps the Colts. I think they get Jonathan Taylor back this week, so I would say those 2. The Bengals, because I don't think they do, because one, I think Kansas City beats them next week on New Year's Eve, when I think you all beat them in Week 18. So I can't see them getting in with a 9-8 record. I mean, it's possible, but too many other scenarios have to play out for that to happen. So
yeah, there's a lot of scenarios. Speaking of a lot of scenarios, here you go. Hey, y'all can read. I'm not reading that. He was going to talk about it a little bit. But all of those scenarios happen to be, the first thing you got to do is you got to win, right? And so one of those 2 things could happen. I see the number 1 or 2 scenario is either Pittsburgh loss in there. You see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 scenarios. Pittsburgh has to lose. You see it's a lot of combinations of these guys. So, but the first things first, if you win this game, you pretty much 99%, because when we looked at it, pretty much 99% in if you win this game. Yeah. So that's one of them. That's one of those joints as well. So coming up, we will get to, offense. We talked about the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and is it an offense around the league? It seems to be down a little bit. We'll talk about it. Is that a trend, or is that just something we done created when we talk about it? G. Bush and Darren here on the UCSS YouTube channel. And as always, man, I always tell you, G. Bush, they say, well, you get your hair cut. I said, man, listen, man, I'm always shouting out my people at Phenomenal Barbershop. My man Jason, my barber. Call him today. Set up an appointment, 216-385-8861. You could go visit him over at 11827 Detroit Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio, 44107. Good family environment. They don't do a lot of cursing. You can bring your kids in and get their hair cut. He might talk to you about the Browns, but that ain't a bad thing. Talk a little about Buckeyes, Browns, NFL in general. So go ahead and check my man Jason at Phenomenal Barbershop. And when you go over there, you tell him G. Bush sent you. All right. So we back in the building, back on UCSS. Let's get to a couple of these comments right here. Let's see.
I meant to tell you something too, G. Bush. Now, you my guy, you my man, 50 grand. I'm still waiting on my merchandise from you, man.
Hey, I told you. You said you're gonna take care of you see this? Listen, I got to. Hey, shout out to Leroy.
Yeah,
I got to. Leroy, like, yo, hey man, I need that tracksuit. When you up top big, you gotta have the tops and the bottoms. So now all my homies, Darren's like, listen, hey, I gotta put my order in right now So I don't let nobody jump me over the top. I asked for that suit 2-3 weeks ago, and we got to get that together.
Yeah, man. Because look, man, when I travel to LA, I don't know what the weather's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying, but I'll wear it, you know, because I don't wear Chiefs gear, you know what I'm saying, during the season. So, you know,
All right.
I'll rep your stuff while I'm, you know.
Now here's what we gotta get this. Ben, what color you want, man?
Man, come on, man. I'm Black Lives Matter, man. I need black, man.
Black. He's like, I need the black on black.
Yeah, I need black, man.
I see you, man. Hey,
plus it'll make me look slim too.
Yeah, right. Look, I'm looking at myself over here. I'm like, dang, bro.
Yeah, man. Trust me, when I go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle, man, I need to. Now
you stay out there. You don't you be going to them hoods where the Roscoe's at? They be getting people. You stay out the hood with the Roscoe.
Hey, look, this is what I tell a local media here. I grew up in the ghetto, so I can walk in and out with no problem. I got hood passes. I ain't worried about it.
I ain't worried about it, right?
Man, I keep it locked and loaded. I'm good.
Nicole D says, I hope the Steelers beat the Bengals and the Seahawks. Okay, that works. Let's see. I just want to know which games will benefit the Browns from here on out. Like who we want to win. I think you put this in. Yeah, we already showed that graphic. We showed you them graphics.
I mean, look, to me, it's not really a matter of who wins on that. I mean, just win your games, man, because you can only control what you can control. And you can control, you know, what happens on the field. And that's look for selfish reasons. Yes, I would love for Baltimore to lose this weekend and lose another game. But even if they don't, Kansas City, even at the number 2 position, has still had home field advantage throughout the playoffs because Baltimore one time when they were the number 1 seed lost in the division round.
Yep.
Out. So
I remember they lost to the Titans, didn't they? Yeah, they lost to the Titans. Yep.
When Kansas City beat the Titans to go to the championship game, to go to the Super Bowl. So yeah.
Let's get to this. You know, we've been as you know, we've been talking about it on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and McNuggets comes up with these stats and talks about how offense is down. And you know, when you look at it right now, is it just an error where you're finding that you got a lot of dominant defensive ends? Like, you know what I'm saying? You look at you dominant defensive linemen, you look at an AFC and you can find a guy that's got 12, 13, 14 sacks pretty much on a lot of the good teams. Or is it a product of there's a lot of quarterbacks being out? There's a lot of starting quarterbacks who have been out of this year. We know the list of names. We've been through here in Cleveland as well. Or do you think it's something defensively? Do you think that guys now are coming out more defensive minded and guys are now catching up and saying, we need 3 good corners or we need a pass rush. We spending our money and allocating our money to those things. What do you think is going on with the numbers, Darren?
You know, it's interesting. I will be honest. I think it's a combination of all of it. And the reason why I say that, and I'm not trying to take the easy way out, but I've thought about that a lot because you think about, and I'm just, bring them up, EB not being the play call this year. The Chiefs are down a full touchdown in scoring this season compared to previous years where they led the league in scoring when EB was the quote unquote offensive coordinator. I do think that defenses have gotten better, but I also think that a lot of times I don't think they really do a lot in preseason along with training camp to where, to me, I don't think that they're getting enough reps and stuff because this year more than any has been there have been so many serious injuries to a lot of these star players and I think the hip drop tackle has been a cause of as well. And look, and I'll be honest, I'm actually surprised that the Chiefs really haven't had any type of real serious injuries, which, knock on wood, they continue to be that way because generally the Chiefs get healthy as they go into the playoffs every season. And so I do think it is a combination that a lot to me, and this other too, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think a lot of these quote unquote play callers are all that good. I think people, to be quite honest, you look at Kellen Moore. He left Dallas with Dak Prescott. He went to the Chargers, and people can say what they say about Brandon Staley, and he's fired. But I haven't been too impressed with Kellen Moore out there. So I do think, depending on the scenarios, and look, nobody really knew what to expect out of Kansas City last year with the subtraction of Tyreek Hill. They went out and won a Super Bowl, got a chance to put see some stuff on film, and you've all saying, and so now you get a chance to kind of combat that. Nobody knew that these receivers would regress, compared to
Right.
especially after being in this offense and with Mahomes for a year or so, they would actually take a step back. So it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into that. To that answer.
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit goes into it. I think it's philosophy as well.
Yeah.
For a while there,
and play calling has been bad. Look, I cover the Chiefs, so I don't think them home. Play calling in Kansas City has been bad. That leaves me hit. Look, I said just last week the Chiefs had they had a drive in the fourth quarter. Me and my coach, we just sitting next to each other, and it was like maybe 8 minutes left to go in the ball game, and I said, watch the Chiefs just go 3 and out, and they had they were in a position to put points on the board. I think they ran the first time, and the next it was 3rd and 2. Then just run the football trying to get first down, extend play. Patrick drops back. Like, he drops back to try to throw a pass and get sacked. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously? Who calls this stuff?
It's one of them things where, like, even when you got Patrick Mahomes, it looked cute. It looked good. But if you don't get it, boy, you don't get that 3rd and 2, you out here looking crazy. I think, too, and here's what I'll say about, the Browns are a team on defense that have the most 3 and outs by far in the league. They also give up the least amount of first downs. This was fascinating to me, and I'll give him credit. I think Chris Sims was talking about. He said the Browns, they just don't concede. Like, hey, let's run cover 3, cover 4 on first down. We'll give them some soft coverage. Maybe they'll get 5 yards, and we'll rally to the ball and hopefully tackle. He's like, nah, the Browns don't just give up 2 or 3 yards. They don't concede that. What they do is say, hey, look, we're going to bring pressure, and we're going to see if we can tackle you in the backfield and have you at 2nd and 14. And that aggressive nature is part of it. And then all of a sudden you look at, they had a stat today, and I think Anthony had it, the success rate of coverage, right, in coverage. The Browns have I think Denzel Ward is number 1. Then the guy from who he just played, really good corner from the Bears, is number 2. But they have Greg Newsome and Emerson tied for number 2 at about 60 some odd percent, 65% of their coverages are successful. And I'm like, that's kind of wild. That's kind of ridiculous. Do you think, when you're looking at it, if you were looking at it from a perspective, what would you value more? Going to get a lockdown corner, or would you still say, I'm going to go get a receiver because of the rules, you can't touch him?
Ooh, that's a good call. Man, it's hard for me to say because I'm from Kansas City, I'm looking for a wide receiver.
That's and Rashee Rice is his name. It seems like y'all found something in him a little bit. A guy who you didn't expect much from, but he's a guy that's been productive. But they haven't had that deep punch, that deep threat where it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, bro. The Chiefs used to scare the living daylights out of people, bro, because you had, and it wasn't just that, you had elite speed at all, like. You still had Sammy Watkins that was fast. You still had Tyreek Hill. You had all these dudes. Plus, you had Kelsey roam in the middle. It was just devastating.
No, you're right. I think, and look, this is kind of going on a different day because we're talking about offensive down. But I love, man. Look, I told you before the season that I loved you all on defense, man. I saw firsthand what Schwartz was doing in that last preseason game against the Chiefs, and I told you all on your show, man, that if Jim Schwartz is, to me, now I know we're talking about Stefanski earlier about being coach of the year, but he's only coach of the year because of that defense and Jim Schwartz and what he's done out there, man. Because he's given you all an identity to where throughout the season, Myles Garrett doesn't get talked about as a defensive player of the year candidate if he's not if he's not having if he's not having that type of performance under Jim Schwartz. And man, look, I'm just telling you, man, I just love the way you all are because one, your identity is the physicality. I mean, and like when I'm traveling on the road and I'm watching you all on YouTube TV on my laptop and stuff, and I'm just watching how you all are performing, I'm just sitting there thinking like, damn, man, like, and I'm picturing in my mind because I told you all beginning of the season that I got Chiefs Browns in the AFC Championship game.
You did.
In Kansas City.
You said that.
So I said in Kansas City too now. So let's not, Kansas City. But again, the thing that people have always asked me, what team am I concerned about? I tell them it's the Browns. It's not really about the offense, but the way you all are more balanced now is a scary scenario. And look, and I like the idea of Kareem. If Kareem Hunt gets a chance to play at Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game, I think he can have a good game as well. But the biggest concern to me is that defense. Now, our defense is very good this year compared to years past. So that's going to be a nice chess match between Spags and Schwartz, with the play call and stuff. And man, I really just believe that, depending on who you all match up with in the playoffs, I'm telling you, man, your defense is going to take you a long way.
Yeah, and it's the thing. If we can get, and I've always thought, if we can get a couple of those cats back there, I think we'll be good to go. We get a couple of them dudes back. Grant Delpit just had surgery. You're looking at guys. Anthony Walker's been in and out of the lineup a little bit, but they've had the young guys like Hickman play very well. D'Anthony Bell played well last week. So, it's just one of those things where you hope you can get some guys back. But when you got a good scheme and when you got guys buying into that scheme, there's a lot of different people and a lot of different young guys that come in and kind of step up. 212 people here live. Make sure y'all hit that like button for your boy. Make sure you continue to subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show so you know exactly when we come on. We'll be back coming up on we'll have 2 shows. Dang, that's kind of crazy. We'll be doing the post-game show on Christmas Eve. So don't worry about that. We will do that. And we will have a Christmas show. We're going to tape one and we're going to drop that. You'll be get that on Monday. So, Darren, are you done with all your Christmas shopping?
Yeah.
Are you done?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
What up, Roberto? I see you out here, man.
Yeah, G. Bush do owe everybody, don't he?
Yeah. Hey, look, G. Bush owe everybody. He know what it is. They like, dang, man. Hey, listen, they coming for him. Listen, they like, listen, when I think, but shout out, this is a testament, though. This is a testament to y'all out there, man. We done moved. When I say moved, thousands. We've moved thousands of merchandise, like hoodies, shirts, the Kool-Aid Mafia stuff. That's why I always try to give out as much as I get in. I gave out. We got this Christmas shirt right here. We sent those out. We sent those out this morning. You guys will have those. We sent out 10 of those. So we did 10 free giveaways. We got the purple playoff joints coming. We giving 5 of those away. So everything we drop, we give some away to show love. So I appreciate you guys, man. J-Dog 66, Darren's a man. Always a pleasure having him on the show with a wealth of knowledge. Listen, see, checks in the mail, J-Dog. I told you, get them together. There we go. R-Mac Dog 199. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Got Browns winning the last 3. Ratbirds lose 2 or 3. I'll take that, man. We will take that. Let's see. Reggie Glover says, I think it is because of the lack of disguise for the play action. The hesitation, that's a good play. Action brings the defense just enough of a moment to pause to be successful. And I think a lot of people are trying to run that out of shotgun. I don't know, Darren. To me, play action is not as effective for the shotgun. Like when I played, I just would like, I don't believe it. I just don't believe you, dog. Like you're not about to hand it to him. You in shotgun. So do you think play action is more, more successful or devastating under center or do you think it is what it is?
I think it's better, if your quarterback gets a chance. I don't like it under center one because he's too close to the defensive line and the linebackers up there blitzing. At least if he's at least for me, if the running back, I'm sorry, if the quarterback is is in a shotgun position, he can at least see the field and see if somebody is coming after him or whatever. So no, I don't prefer him under. I don't prefer quarterbacks, at least my quarterback, underneath the center any longer.
Okay. Listen, look, he's like, nah, I ain't doing that. Let's see. I got my orange Kool-Aid Mafia sweater from the email win. Hey man, you can't be rubbing that in. See, now he gonna listen. You see, Vernell, you ain't nothing. You came in here. He's like, I got that joint. See, at least
see, what Vernell don't understand is that, man, I was offered some apparel the last time I was on the show.
Yes,
I'm still waiting for that.
See,
so so while he's bragging, I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to get what was promised to you, boy. That's all I'm saying.
Y'all cat, man. Y'all cat's crazy, man. Let me see. Vernell, he said get them thumbs up, get them likes up, man. He also says Denzel is the best corner on the team. And that stat I was pulling up, they said Emerson was number 1, Ward 2, G News tied for second with Taylor. We'll take it. We'll take it, Demond. We'll take it. With that being said, we're going to come up. If you got any questions, get them ready now. Any questions, get them ready now. We will go ahead and do that coming back up, and we will definitely get you together. It is G Bush and my man without a sweatshirt. Yeah, we will get them together. Darren Smith for KLKC Kansas City. We'll be back to wrap this thing up on the UCSS YouTube channel. Like I always said, bro. Hey, if you're a Browns fan and you haven't joined the Kool-Aid Mafia yet, what are you waiting for? Show your support by joining the mob. We got a variety of colors and flavors, all types of Kool-Aid drinkers here. As you can see, the orange joint, we dropped that one. We got the brown, the original brown. We got the original Kool-Aid right there. We got hoodies in both the brown and that electric blue. And then, of course, we got the black purple playoff pack ready to go right here on the end. You could also check these all out at purchase these at Barbershop on merchandise on bushlinebeauty.com/barbershop. That's bushlinebeauty.com/barbershop. And if it's your first time ordering, we give you a courtesy 15% off your first order. It's all courtesy of G Bush and the Barbershop. All right, Darren, let's get to the last Q&A. Get these people out here. You guys get your questions ready. Ask Darren and G Bush. We got a little bit of time here. Ask us any questions you want except for sports, religion, and politics. Now, if we was in the real barbershop, we might even talk about some of these other joints right here, but we ain't going to do it with y'all. Y'all cats is crazy. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to act. Come on. So let's get them ready. I'll start it off, Darren. You said your Christmas shopping is done. I think mine is too. I just need to put about 17 more hoodies in the mail. But we'll be ready to go. Let's get to this. Do you usually eat anything different on Christmas Day, or is it just a JV Thanksgiving?
No, one year I actually barbecued. Man, it was man, hey, let me tell you something. It was so much snow on the ground. I had to bring the grill inside and light the food up inside. So trust me when I tell you, I had to make sure I didn't burn my basement up because I had to do the kerosene and all. Hey man, that was a scary scenario, man. But no, for the most part, I think this year my mom, I know she's making ham because I bought her a big ass ham. She's also doing a roast as well, along with the sides and stuff like that. So the one thing we don't do turkey on Christmas. That's something we don't do.
Yeah, we don't do no turkey on Christmas. We do it like a ham or something. We'll see how it goes. But we usually just we don't do it. We don't go do it too tough. Now we do need to get these Christmas cookies going. I'm looking at the women in my family at the side eye. What are we doing here? I haven't seen any dough, nothing out. What's going on? I'm kind of confused by that. Let's get to this, man.
And the crazy thing is, for me, I actually have to work Christmas because of the game. So,
yeah. David Greenshield says the team the Browns least want to see in the playoffs. What do we think about that? Well, look, the least team I want to see before we get there. I would be more excited to play. I like us playing the AFC South. If we're in the AFC South and we win the 5th seed, or say for instance, I got no problem playing the Jaguars, the Colts, or the Texans, which we're already going to play. So I'm cool with that. The least team, I wouldn't want to play the Bills the first round, but I don't think the Bills are going to be in a position to play in that first round anyway. So, and then when it comes to the second round, I wouldn't want to play the Ravens in the second round. I would rather play the Dolphins. But I mean, we already beat the Ravens, so I would see it. And then I would want to play the Chiefs in the championship game. Darren, what about you? What team would you not want to see like in the first few rounds of the playoffs?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to see.
But what you was like, I don't know how I feel about that matchup.
I mean, I wouldn't want to see Cleveland because that is being my SC championship game early. But
yeah,
it really doesn't matter. I mean, because for me, I think the Chiefs win any game at home, and if they have to go on the road, it would either be to Miami or Baltimore. I mean, it just depends on how these teams are playing as they enter the playoffs. Because only one team will actually get a first round bye. Then yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't care who they play, because at the end of the day, if these wide receivers don't catch the passes, it ain't gonna matter. It's gonna be a short playoff run for the Chiefs this year. So,
RMAC Dog says we appreciate your super chat, $4.99. We always love your super chats over at G Bush. Here's my question: can the Browns realistically make a deep playoff run this year? What are the key things you want to see them do on offense? Well, I think they can make a realistic run, especially if the defense can get a couple guys back. But as constituted, the defense is playing lights out. And defense and running games really, really travel. The thing that I would worry about a little bit is right now we haven't been able to run the ball a lot. We haven't been able to run consistently. We haven't been able to run it effectively. And I think if you leave the ball to Joe Flacco and you expect him to throw 50 times, he could throw you 2-3 interceptions, but he could throw you 2 or 3 touchdowns. My thing is that Joe Flacco has to stay clean. If Joe Flacco can stay clean, run the football, I think the Cleveland Browns, if he doesn't have that many turnovers, they can realistically compete to get there.
And man, for me, I got to see more Kareem Hunt, man. Maybe it's just the Kansas City in me, man. But I think Kareem, man. I just don't think that they're using him enough. I know they're using him short yardage and near the goal line, but I think he needs to be. I think he needs to have a greater presence on offense running the football.
I agree.
Nothing against Jerome Ford, but man, I'm telling you, man, it's something about a running back like him when he gets those touches and he gets the chance to build up some stuff, man.
You know me. I think he should be getting 16, 18 carries. He should be the guy that, especially when it comes into the playoffs, man. You need them tough yards. He's the best short yardage back in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he should not. Joe Flacco should not be dropping back and throwing the ball more than 35 times in a ball game. That's just my opinion.
One last one before we get to, should the Cavs trade Donovan Mitchell? I'll give you this. I think the Cavs need to
he ain't doing my parlays no good.
They need to assess whether or not realistically is he coming back. I don't think he's coming back. I think he already knew that before he got here. And I think since his father is in New York, he is in communications in the Mets front office. I think he's never going to give you one of those smoking guns where it says, hey guys, I don't want to be here. He's too smart for that. He's worried about his image a little bit, and he understands. He's a smart kid. He's not going to give you that. You find out what you can get. And if you can get what you can get from him, and you can kind of keep Mobley and you can keep Garland and figure out what you're going to do there, I look at making a move. But here's the thing. I'm not giving him away for free, though.
I agree.
No, we're not going to do that. And last but not least, Brenton Schmaltz says, Darren, where's your suit? We came to expect more of the best dressed reporter in the league.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, man. I get that, and I do have a brand, but you don't understand, man. When I travel as much as I do, Man, I'm wore out, man. Look, I have to go get a new suit tomorrow. They don't look me. I just get dressed up and I just talk for. No, I actually I work, man.
Yeah, and then you gotta go get fitted. It's tough being the sharpest dressed man in the game, man. I appreciate it, man.
Look, yeah, one thing, my suit guy, as much as he loves me, he tells me, you got to cut up, but he tells me I need to cut off the food, but then when I bring in some gates, he's happy as well. So, I mean, it's rough out here, man. It's rough out here.
Darren, I appreciate you so much for coming on with me and spending some time with me. And listen, your suit's in the mail. Your boy got your hoodie in the mail. We're gonna get you together. It's gonna show up. He's gonna say, G Bush is a man of his word. He probably didn't get it when he told me to, but he got me that hoodie, dog. He got it to me, and I'm in it. So we're gonna get that done. Oh man, this is crazy, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Skilly $49.99 on a super chat. This is why the barbershop.
Hold on. Skilly's making sure that you got enough money to pay for the shipping to get that stuff here. Appreciate you, Skilly.
Yeah, this is going to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This ain't G Bush. You know what I'm saying? But here's why. Here's why the barbershop is dope, because this is what we do over here, man. We got the best people listening. We get the best guests, and we're gonna continue to keep that on going throughout the season. Darren, I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, brother.
And for everybody else out there, you know what? You don't ever know where I'm going to be at. I just pop up on you. But one thing you can't always do is listen for the Clippers. We'll take care of yourself. We'll holler at you. Happy holidays if we don't see you, but we will see. Go Browns and the Chiefs for now.